There was a time when our world knew no peace. The years between 8000 BC and 4500 BC were the craziest in human history. Entire civilizations rose and fell during this time. New weapons, social structures, and fighting techniques appeared almost out of nowhere, and to top it all off, our planet was still recovering from the last ice age. This was not the best of times, but it was definitely an interesting one. Men would do anything to survive, whether it's stealing another man's woman or killing him in battle for glory. There were all kinds of men during this time. But today we will take a look at one of the most powerful types of men that have ever lived. We will travel back in time and tell the tale of a true prehistoric German warrior. Before we begin, remember to give us a thumbs up and support our work. Thanks for your support. Now let's begin. Our story begins around 6000 BC in a small village near the coast of what is now Denmark. Back then, Europe was just recovering from the last ice age, and the landscape was still dotted with glaciers and ice sheets. The people who lived here were hunters and gatherers, and they had to travel from place to place in search of food. Their lives were hard, and they were constantly on the move. The only thing that kept them going was their belief in their culture. These people spoke an ancient language and followed strange customs that are unknown to modern man. They believed that the world was full of spirits and monsters, and they often made sacrifices to appease them. Despite the danger that lurked around every corner, these people were tough and resourceful. They had to be in order to survive in such a hostile environment. They made their own weapons and tools from stone and bone, and they were able to hunt down mammoths and other large animals for food. Life was difficult, but these people were not afraid of hard work. In fact, they thrived on it. They knew that if they didn't work hard, they wouldn't survive. Despite the challenges they faced, these people were happy. They were a community of survivors, and they were proud of it. One day, a group of men from a neighboring village attacked this peaceful tribe. They were bigger and stronger than the men of this tribe. Their weapons were sharper and they had more of them. It seemed like there was no way for the villagers to win the fight. But then one man stepped forward. His name was Borr, and he was known as the strongest and smartest man in the village. He may not have been the biggest or the meanest, but he was the bravest and most intelligent of them all. Borr took charge of the situation and told the men to stop running away from their enemies and face them instead. He said that they had nothing to lose and that they should fight for their homes and families. Borr led by example, and picked up a spear and shield and charged into battle. The other men followed his lead, and soon the two groups were engaged in a fierce battle. It was a close fight, but in the end, the men of Borr's village were victorious. From that day on, Borr was seen as a hero, and the people of the village lived in peace, at least for a while. After this victory, Borr became the leader of the tribe. Under his guidance, the tribe grew stronger and more prosperous. They learned how to farm and raise livestock, and they built permanent homes instead of living in tents. Borr was a wise and just leader, and he was respected by his people. He was always fair and honest, and he never abused his power. During his reign, the tribe flourished and became one of the most powerful in the region. However, peace did not last forever. One day, a neighboring tribe attacked them. This tribe was bigger and stronger than any they had ever faced before. They were led by a fierce warrior named Ragnar, who was known for his brutality and strength. Ragnar's army was equipped with sharp spears and axes that were capable of piercing even the toughest armor. Their shields were made of thick wood, and their helmets were adorned with menacing horns. The sight of Ragnar's army was enough to strike fear into the hearts of the villagers. When the men of Borr's village saw the approaching army, they panicked. They had never seen anything like it before. They were scared and confused, but Borr knew that neither of these options would work. He knew that if they ran away, they would be chased down and killed, and if they fought, they would be outnumbered and outmatched. But Borr was not a man to give up easily. He knew that he needed to come up with a plan, and he needed to come up with it fast. So he did what any good leader would do. He rallied his men and told them that they had a chance to win the battle. Borr told his men to dig a series of holes near the edge of the village. Then he told them to cover the holes with leaves and branches. Then when Ragnar's army arrived, he told his men to pretend to be terrified and scatter. Plan in place, Borr hid with his men and waited for Ragnar's army to arrive. When they did, the men of Ragnar's army were shocked to see that the village was empty. They thought that the villagers had run away, and they began to celebrate, but their celebration was short-lived. As soon as they entered the village, they began to fall victim to the traps that had been set for them. The men of Ragnar's army were strong and brave, but they were no match for the traps that had been set for them. In the end, not a single member of Ragnar's army survived. The men of Borr's village were victorious once again. Borr's army was outnumbered and outmatched. but they were able to use their brains to outsmart their enemy. Borr was a true hero. He was a man who was able to take a stand against a seemingly unbeatable opponent and win. His courage, intelligence, and determination were an inspiration to those around him, and his legacy lived on long after he died. After this victory, Borr's tribe became even more prosperous. They were known throughout the region for their strength and intelligence, and they were respected by all who knew them. But Borr never forgot the hard times, and he always reminded his people to be prepared for anything. He knew that no matter how strong or successful they became, there would always be new challenges ahead, and so he taught his people to be adaptable and resourceful. Borr's tribe went on to become one of the most successful in prehistoric Germany. This bravery was an inspiration to his fellow warriors, and it gave them the strength to follow him into battle. His story is an inspiration to us all and a reminder that even the most ordinary of men can become legends. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos about real history.